Hey guys, I'm super happy to be sharing this interview with you. I just spoke to Sylvain Champagne. He's a seven-figure insurance agency builder who's also taking home high six figures a year just in override income from his recruiting and team building efforts. So I thought, who else is better to answer some really important questions about how to monetize new recruits that join your team, especially if they are unlicensed in the very beginning. So without further ado, I'm going to let you in on this interview and definitely stay tuned for the last 5 to 7 minutes because I genuinely do believe that those were the best minutes of the interview where he actually opened up even more and shared more value. But go through the whole thing. It's really going to be worth it for you. I'll see you on the other side. Cheers.
It's not about values or anything. It's just if you knew what I know, and we'll talk about that later, like you would do personal plans 100% of the time and they would not be an option. Like, because it's not just the plan and the money and monetizing it, it's all the benefits for the recruit.
Mhm.
Because, when they start, that's where they have the least belief, right?
That's true.
And you need to pour belief. And how
Mhm.
do you do that? Well, it's not by studying the HLQP. That thing's
Yeah,
the most boring lecture I've ever had, right? But like, I mean, it's necessary, but it's not the most like, between that and watching a teleseries, there's
yeah,
some stuff that are more entertaining than it.
for sure.
But I mean, and that's the thing. Like doing their personal plan is more entertaining than the HLQP. It's more real. It's more like what we do on the field. So they love the experience. They
Mm.
love to see what you can bring to the table. It pours belief in the company, in you, and the trust that they have with you, that you have their benefit in mind and everything. So all of this, if you don't do that, if you don't do the plan, you're missing out. And the recruit
Okay,
is missing out, and they get less license through it too.
true. So essentially, I think everyone should agree that doing the personal plan as soon as the recruit comes on board is not only like a must, but it's really like necessary, right? So what we always recommend our clients to do is as soon as that agent gets coded, right away you schedule their personal plan within 24 to 48 hours, right? Um, Now, that's not always applied, right? So, why do you think it's not always applied, not only with our clients, but I think with most agents in the industry, right? Don't do a personal plan within 24 to 48 hours, even though most of them know that's technically what they should be doing. What do you think is the main cause for that?
They don't see value. Most of them, they don't do it. And why they don't do then they don't do that, and why don't they respect the 24-48 hour rule? Because they don't know better either. Like they
Mm.
don't see the benefit. Can you imagine how many when you're excited about a news? And that's why you need to do it. If you're excited about some news, what do you have a tendency to start doing?
If I'm excited about some
Something.
news,
What do you tend
well,
you tend to go
you
talk to
think about
people?
it more. You probably go and try to do that thing more and more if it excites you and you've got a passion for it. Yeah, you try
Yep.
to do it
So
more.
guess
You're
what?
more involved.
Now you're excited about something. So
Mhm.
guess what? They got recruited. They're excited about talking about the stuff. They're doing it, and then the new recruit. But do they know what they're saying? That's where they have the least experience. And so
Mm,
guess what? This is where they're going to hit the most walls, or
mm.
in their surrounding. So they'll be talking to their mom, their dad, their uncle, their friends, and everything. But they're a plumber right now, so
Yeah.
it doesn't
Okay.
scream financial advisor, and they don't know what they're talking about. That personal plan also gives them more ammo to know what they're going to talk about while they're excited.
Got it. So you mentioned a good point here. You said a lot of the agents who recruit new agents on their team don't necessarily enforce the personal plan within 24 to 48 hours because they don't know the benefits. So let's talk about some of those benefits. You just said one of the main benefits is for that recruit, now it becomes something tangible, right? Like now that
Mhm.
they have their personal plan done and they feel like they've optimized some or most of their financial situation already, or at least they have a game plan, then yeah, obviously they're going to be a whole lot more confident when they're going to go talk to their warm market, right? They're going to be a whole lot more confident, which can lead to having them, them having better results. And if they have better results quicker, then better net, licensing ratios, net recruiting ratios, better performance of the team, all that. What are some of the other benefits of doing the personal plan with that new recruit as soon as they come in?
Mhm. Well, they start, if they were doing investment, they start making money right off the bat too.
Mm. They start
You know,
making
like
more.
more, because if their investment is like in a GIC, guaranteed investment certificate or whatever,
Mm.
making low income,
Mm.
they might have a GIC that's actually renewing, and then it's auto renew. And by the time they get their license, now it's renewed for 5 years and they're
Mm.
stuck. There's
Mm.
so many things that people don't understand, like that could happen. Here's a story, Pavel. So on our team, right, someone didn't do the personal plan through, like, it's not my direct, right? So
Yeah.
it's on someone's team, right? And so what ended up happening, they didn't do the fast start. Like, it happens even in the best families, right? So
Mhm.
uh, they didn't do the fast start, and they did they didn't do the personal plan to start with, right, that person. And so I think it was 3 or 4 weeks after we recruited that person, their husband got a heart attack.
Mm.
No critical illness insurance. And I'm like, wow, like, this is exactly what we do. And so
Yeah.
if we had a plan, if we were to had to sit down, info gather, know that they have nothing in place,
Mm.
we would definitely have recommended it. And they would probably have it enforced and got collected a check of 25 to maybe 50 grand, whatever we would
Mm.
have established. And so now they missed out. And now this person got a heart attack. And guess what? Now non insurable for most of the other products, right?
Mm.
Maybe simplifying issue in a few years, it's going to cost an arm and a leg. Like, all of
Mm.
this could have been prevented, and they would cost less to the new recruit than waiting for it for a small commission. Like, it makes
Yeah.
no sense. Those stories, I got many of them. You know,
Mm. Yeah,
waiting
and I
is
feel
not good.
like that's one of the biggest objections that agents have. Like some of them, they know like it would be beneficial for their recruit to do their personal plan, and they know it probably would help with the confidence and everything. But they will sometimes do the personal plan, but not sell the policy to the recruit because they feel like they're like stealing their money or like stealing their commission or like they're taking away something from their recruit. And I feel like that's also one of the big factors that prevent agency builders from actually selling a personal plan to their new recruit and missing out on all those benefits. So, what do you say to that if someone on your team says, like, I'm not comfortable with selling them the policy right away? I feel like I'm not doing something right. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I feel like it's the half full, half empty glass perspective,
Okay.
and it's like, change your full perspective on it. Like, they need to fully change it, because I would, like, if I were on the other side of the spectrum, I would say, well, do you see what you're stealing the other way around?
Okay.
You're stealing the opportunity for them to make a choice on the products. You're
Okay.
stealing them the opportunity of being excited and knowing more. You're stealing them maybe their opportunity of doing the business, because now, if you don't apply this, your licensing ratio is less,
Mm.
because they don't have rebuttals. They can't control. They're excited. They're gonna talk about it, and now you can't control what they talk about, and,
Mm.
and they're not equipped as much as someone that goes always on the field with their agents. They've not seen, they've not experienced, so they
Mm.
can't talk about it, and so they get less results. You lose on their momentum. You lose on everything. So the loss of income, if I were to value what they lose compared to that one commission, most of the time you're making them lose so much more.
Mm.
You
That
know,
makes
I
sense. Okay.
I'm a
So if I
product.
got that
Yeah.
correctly, essentially, right, because they don't purchase their personal plan and it's not in action until they're licensed, well, they're missing out on all the conviction, all the, personal
Yeah.
experience, all of the belief in their product and what they're doing because they haven't felt the benefits themselves. And also they could be missing out on the actual protection because if something happens like, that family that you're talking about where the husband got a heart attack, well, looking back, I'm sure these people wished that their upline would have sold them the policy right there and there, right, within 24 to 48 hours instead of waiting for the bad thing to happen. So that makes a lot of sense, actually, because like we mentioned already, like if they have that conviction, if they have that momentum, if they have that belief, then really like they're going to be successful in this business, right? I think one of the main reasons why people fail is because when they go out and reach out to their warm market, they maybe don't have like that conviction, that sense of like experience and belief in it yet, or they're kind of testing out the waters. But if it's done, like it's more concrete for them, it's more tangible again, right? And conviction is so important in sales. So that's another good point. Are there any other benefits that you can think of like, let's say, I'm a new recruit on your team and we write my personal plan. Like, why should I buy it now instead of waiting for my license to be up? Are there any other benefits?
Well, here's the idea. It's also the duplication part of it.
Hmm.
Monkey see, monkey do. So, right? So if I'm in the culture of saying, well, let's all wait,
Oh.
well, guess what? Now you're waiting. And then
Hmm.
everybody's waiting and waiting and waiting. And so we're waiting for what? You know? And
That's so
so
powerful.
it
Yeah.
is. And again, the cost of that, Pavel, if I were to put a ticket on that alone, how much is it costing your organization? Like, especially with, we know 90% of people don't make it and all that stuff.
Mm.
What is it costing? And what are you preventing those people to have and everything? Like, that's the thing. You see it, some people see it half empty. I'm actually seeing it 90% full, if you
Yes.
do it. I'm 10% empty if you don't do it, because that's
Mm.
the statistic. So it's like just people maybe don't know the statistics. Maybe
Mm.
some of the listeners right now, they're going to be thinking, it's like, wow, what, 90%? Yeah. So if you don't do the personal plan, if you have a 10% licensing ratio, well, think about it. That's 90% of people that are not getting their personal plan because you're waiting for them to get their license and they never get it. That's
Damn.
powerful right there. So
That's the
you
golden
prevent,
nugget. That's the
yeah,
golden nugget right there. It's the chain reaction effect, right? Because if you're waiting on your recruits to be licensed, to write them a personal plan so that they make the small commission, right? Well, then when they go ahead and start their business, they're also going to be waiting on everyone to get licensed so that they don't, you know, AKA like rob the new agent from their commission that they could potentially make. But in reality, you're actually preventing that person from making a lot of money, right? Because let's say you bring on 10 recruits and two of them get licensed, the other eight drop, which is, to be honest with you, a pretty normal ratio in the industry. Then you
yeah,
just lost eight clients to get two. But then those two, they're also going to lose eight to get those two. So essentially, you think you're doing a good thing by waiting for that person to get licensed, but in reality, you're punishing yourself, you're punishing that person, and you're punishing your whole organization and your whole cash flow and everything. So to me, right there, that's the golden moment. That's the biggest reason to do it, because you got to think further than 6 inches away from your face. Like, you got to think
100%.
long term. How do I make that person successful? Right? How do I duplicate my success? Well, I think that's the answer right there. Don't wait for the licensing. Sell those policies right away and then duplicate. They're going to sell right away. They're going to get 10 instead of 2, right? And they're going to make more money quicker. Therefore, they're going to stay longer. They're going to replicate that success. And that right there, I think, can do such wonders for this industry. If everyone was doing that, yeah, we'd have much better performance ratios for sure.
100%. And that's how you monetize the process, right? And so,
Mm.
and that's the thing, Pavel. I feel like it's just people need to change perspective, and it's just we believed some stuff for so long, but it's still wrong, right? And
Yeah.
and it's just removing why we're thinking like, well, I'm someone honest. I work with integrity, and for me, this is stealing. Well, no, well, change that, because when someone's going to get a heart attack or someone will pass away and they don't have an insurance in place, all of the amounts that you could have put in place, you're going to be thinking about how much now. I hope you're going to be thinking about how you stole that family from an
Yeah.
opportunity of saying yes
Mm.
or no. And that's why it's so important. I started this conversation with you talking about we don't force people to take products.
Hmm.
We force them to do actually a plan, though. Like, I
Mm.
want them to go through the cycles. Now, at the end of the day, if they said no, my conscience is free,
Yeah.
right? It's good. But here's the thing: most of them will do it because it makes sense. If you have 4% on your investment for the same level of risk you have eight, why would you leave 4% on the table for 3 months or 4 months? That's going to pay
Mm.
you way more than what the investment will pay you. If you don't have any insurance, why would you want to wait? Your family is in critical dire of something if you were to get hit by a bus or get a heart
Mm.
attack. Like, I had literally a client, Beved, that we signed a policy on a Friday night and he died on a Sunday.
That's
Two
crazy.
days later, passed away. It's insane how fast
Mm.
things can happen. And that's a true story. I was like, wow, through my 10 years, I only have one like this, but
Yeah.
still. But that
No,
that
but it can
day, that
happen, right? So,
the day it
okay.
does. Yeah, I got 7 claims that I did total, but like that one is like one that was like, wow, how fast can things happen
Mm.
that we don't know about?
That's really good. No, I think that's really good. And if we, so I think we got a pretty clear idea now that it's really important not only to do the personal plan within 24 to 48 hours, but also actually sell the personal plan as long as that, new recruit is willing to do it. As long as you convey the message right and you don't force them and don't do anything illegal, you should always go for the sell, right? ABC, always be closing. And then what, right? Then I don't want us to go for too long here because I think that's already a lot of value that we just shared in terms of like the personal plan. But let's just talk about, let's say, the top three things that we can do in the recruiting call to make sure that we maximize the monetization of our new recruits, right? Well, one of the first things that we always do in our recruiting pitch deck when we are actually on the one-on-one call to onboard that recruit and get them coded is to make them commit to those three things. The first one is to obviously like cover all of their licensing costs, right? So they have to say, yes, I'm going to do that. Secondly, it's to get them to commit to doing the personal plan. And like you mentioned, we don't say you're going to need to buy it. We say, hey, you got to commit to doing your personal plan within 24 to 48 hours with us so that you have more trust, you have more conviction, and you optimize your own finances before you go and tell other people how to do it. Does that make sense? And they're like, yes. And then lastly, which I think is the only thing we haven't talked about yet, is we actually get people to commit to doing 10 training appointments within their first 30 days as a recruit. So that's another thing I think a lot of agency builders are waiting for people to be licensed before they actually go out and tell them, go reach out to your warm market. Because again, they have that belief of, I got to wait till they're licensed. So what are your thoughts on that? Okay. Let's say they go out and reach the 10 training appointments and those training, those people actually show up on the call and they purchase the policy. Like, do you wait? Do you, submit it right away? What's your game plan on that?
Yeah, for me, it's just that it's a matter of kind of like opening a restaurant.
Okay.
For us, we call it a fast start, a grand opening, call it what you want, right? But at the end of the day, it's like if I wait, because the process in Canada takes long, it's about 3 months, right? And so if we wait 3 months for you to start, putting your pawns on the chessboard, well, when are we going to be playing the game, right? And so
Mm,
I think that we can start opening up your business. And why? But it's about people seeing what you do. And here's the thing: people think about just the end result. When we talk about 10 fill appointment, we're not talking about 10 closing 10 plans. Like some of this might happen,
yeah.
but people always think about the home run, which is the sell, right? But no, you could just impress people. You could just be getting referrals, right? And so that's
Hmm.
what we want to do right now, and that's why our script is based on that. It's like, hey, Pavel, I started in a new industry. I'm excited. I'm in training process right now. What I'd like to do is sit down with you, show you what we do, and if it makes sense, you could send some good people my way. Can you help me out with that? Did we
Mm,
talk about RSPs? No, because it's illegal for the new recruit to talk about anything. They don't know nothing. Did we
yeah.
talk about insurance? Did we talk? No, we didn't talk about anything. We just talked about the new opportunity, what they're doing, because we want people in their surrounding in the warm market to say, hey, look what Sylvain is now doing, right? Hey, have you
Mhm.
met Sylvain? What he's trying to do is cool, and now it's setting up that recruit for success. It's like if we were to open a restaurant, Pavel, and then we think about a team. We're going to hire employees, get some the people in and marketing and
Mm,
all. Like we would do a lot of stuff. We wouldn't just put, hey, we're open. We would do a
mm.
grand opening. I was like, hey, Pavel, invite everybody you know. I'll invite everybody I know. They come in, they eat. If they like it, they're going to be talking and talking and talking. And that's how you open any freaking business. Why are we different? It's the
Yeah.
same thing. Grand openings are important because it's going to just give traction to that new recruit.
I think this is so powerful. Again, it goes back to that chain reaction effect, right? You have pretty much two options, and it's a simple decision. You either always wait for that person to be licensed before you actually start opening their business, before you do their personal plan, before you get them to reach out to their warm market. And then 90% of the time or 80% of the time, they'll get bored, they'll drop out, and they're not going to do anything, and you're not going to make any money. And then you'll be like saying, oh, well, it's hard to make money in this business. So that's your option number one. That's what a lot of people choose to do. But essentially, the other option, which is quite frankly the better option, in my opinion, is as soon as someone comes in, right, you do their personal plan within 24 to 48 hours, and then you get them active in the business, you get them opening, you get them setting appointments with you, which are 10 training appointments. And then on those 10 training appointments, you impress their warm market. You show how incredibly powerful what their business is and why they should refer some other people. And like you said, if you get one or two or three sales, I think not only is it good for your personal cash flow as the agency builder, but it's also good for your recruits, even though they don't make the money right away. Well, at least they see how easy and doable it is to go and make money. And when they're going to recruit people, they'll be able to do the same thing, get that personal plan quicker, get that warm market activated quicker. So it's like choosing between having your whole organization slow and without money, or having your whole organization go fast and make a lot of money and help more families and protect more people. So to me, I mean, I'm sold, right? I'm sold. That's what we got to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's like for me, and I, it's to kind of nail the last nail in the coffin, right?
Hmm.
We're both a toy company, but you sell after Christmas, I sell before Christmas. Who wins?
Mm. I see what you mean. Yeah, that's good.
At the end of the day, I will always be faster and better and win more, and I'll have more profit margins because we can sell
Hmm.
toys more expensive before Christmas than after Christmas. You're going to be always on the losing end. So, I mean, for the agents out there that are listening to this, and you're thinking like, well, can I do what I continue doing with what I wanted to be doing? If you want to stay in that process of waiting for licenses to happen all the time, well, hey, it's okay, but just you're selling toys after Christmas.
Yeah.
So just expect to not win as much as others that are doing it.
Yeah.
Um,
And
and then the only
profit is,
exception,
go
okay?
ahead.
Now, I was going to say the only exception is if you live in a state, because I know in Canada, forget it. Some states though, you can get your license within like 5 days. Like
Hmm.
if you live in a state which this is possible, then hey, this podcast wasn't for you. Like I get it. Like someone, you can do it pretty quickly. And so I see that they would be some difference there. But I mean, any process that will take weeks or months,
Yeah.
like don't wait. This is
But
applying for
yeah,
most millions of
for
people.
most people, realistically, even in the
Yeah.
States, they don't do it in 5 days, right? Most people,
Just
it takes them at least 2 weeks. And 2 weeks of nothing is a lot of time wasted. Yeah.
hey,
So,
two weeks before Christmas.
yeah, it's
It's
better to sell 2 weeks before than 2 weeks after. And last
yeah.
thing I wanted to say on that is like profits is the life and blood of your business, right? If you make a lot of profit, you can reinvest in those team members, give them access to better tools, better events, better training, a lot of different stuff that at the end of the day, if you have a long-term vision for your team, will make them more money than waiting, right? So I want to thank you so much, Sylvain, for your time. I think this was a great interview and an extremely valuable interview. Anything else before we go?
Yeah. Oh, hey, you just opened a can of worms with your ending words, right? Because here's the thing: just doing it fast and making more money, you reinvest in your company, right? And there's
Yeah,
ways that we can do this, and this could be another podcast
for
altogether. But
sure.
um, it would be kind of crazy to think how much with all that we do beforehand and the momentum it creates, the money that we inject back is probably worth more than their personal plan that you feel guilty of taking.
Yeah,
So like like the Estoril and the mansions that we rent in Vegas when we go there for convention and all the stuff I give back to my team,
mm,
just because of how successful we are through the process and using their system. People are just dreaming in other teams of doing this stuff, but
yeah,
they're sitting on the sideline waiting for people to get licensed. I
yeah.
just don't feel like you could be living this, and it's better for the people that are there with you in doing it. And then you're serving the ones that leave. Because
Mm,
here's the thing: the 90 or 80% that leaves, they got a plan, so they still got treatment from
yeah,
your association. Where the 20% that stays, now they get benefit more from that because all the 80% of the profits you did that you wouldn't do are injected somewhat into the company, which is
that's
worth
true.
more than their personal plan. So, anyways, let's do that another
Yeah,
podcast. But
we can talk about all the tools and admin staff and licensing coordinators and events and
yep,
all the ways you can reinvest into your team in the next podcast. But thank you so much for your time today, Sylvain. I really appreciate it.
my pleasure. All right, take care. Bye.
Bye.